Welcome back to 40 I Amped. We're here with Hestin of Downtown Dialogue.
What's going on? What's happening?
Journalist, historian, leader, everyman. Saying hi to this
I know, I was about to say, geez, great timing, bro.
So I'm really happy to be here to talk to you and just talk about what you do. Tell me about, take it back to before you started Downtown Dialogue.
Okay.
Tell me what spurred that on.
So before Downtown Dialogue, I was already doing YouTube. Like, I had a gaming channel, and that was really all I ever wanted to do, was just be like a big GTA funny moments kind of YouTuber. So that's kind of where like the funny edits come from. But in reality, what's always been true to me is just being outgoing. Always like being very late to judge people. You know, like I was raised around a lot of people who you could say are examples of who you shouldn't be, not examples of who you should be. So raised in an environment like that, you kind of learn to love everybody regardless. You know that at one point that was somebody's mother's child, or at one point, you know what I'm saying? Like my mom says all the time, nobody gives birth to a child and says, I can't wait to fuck this up. You know what I'm saying? So with thoughts like that in mind, me being raised with that, I kind of always loved having conversations with everybody. It didn't matter where I was. I could be in a penthouse in New York, and their CEO's having a meeting talking about what they're gonna do next month. And I could be there and I could participate in that conversation. You could also take me to the worst place in America, and I guarantee you I'm gonna find something in common with these people, and I can have a productive conversation with them, or at least just learn more about them. Like, I've always had this curiosity, this need to wanna conversate with people. And from that is where Downtown Dialogue came from. I mean, 2020, pandemic had us locked down, I got into politics. Once that kind of took off and I was posting on Instagram every day, you know, different infographics and trying to get people to vote for Kamala Harris and all this stuff, I had this realization during the election that everything I was posting on Instagram was really for nothing. I mean, of course, you getting people to put eyes on it for like 5 seconds, but they're gonna forget what they saw once they're on to the next third, fourth, fifth story. So I was like, I gotta do more than just post on Instagram. I gotta do more than just let these people see what they should be doing. I should actually show them, explain it to them. And with that came Downtown Dialogue, my passion for talking and conversating with anybody, and then using that to fuel my political fire for real, and create stories and stuff that could maybe make you think twice about politics, or make you think twice about, or not make you think twice, make you think more about the United States, how our government works, how our people work, our culture, and how much more in depth this all really is, you know?
So in line with that idea of just like being able to talk to everybody, and also giving to people who are like on Instagram, getting all the other information, some
Right.
important stuff. Tell me about your idea of exposure and why that's important.
Okay, exposure is important because people are scared of things they're not exposed to, right? So like, for example, you're gonna be scared of dogs because when you were a kid, you had one experience with a dog and it almost bit you because it was a wild ass dog, and now you 7, 8, 9 years old, still scared of dogs, tell mommy keep the dog away. Or, let's take it to an even more real experience, you down in North Carolina, your whole family's white, everybody in school is white, and everybody down there is Republican. You don't get no more outside views than that. You need exposure to different views, different people, different culture, different experiences, period, or else you're gonna grow fear, and fear grows resentment. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't know. You just don't know. That's why exposure is so important, because you gotta get exposed to the things that you're not comfortable with, or that maybe you don't know, to benefit yourself overall, the interactions that you'll carry out in the real world, and how you'll just interact with other people, period, who you may not have been exposed to before. Yeah, that's why I think exposure is important. No exposure is gonna breed fear, and fear is gonna breed resentment. That's why exposure is important. Yeah, that's what I think.
I think that's just an important message. It's like, I was just having this conversation, and it's the reason why I asked you. I was just having this conversation where it's like, it's a lot of people who just do not get the other side.
No.
It's a lot of people who do not get the other side, and it's important to like question.
Yes, very, very important question. How many people on the other side, how many people that consider themselves on one side have spent a lot of time with somebody on the other side? Not often. I guarantee you not even majority of the people who feel a certain way about a crowd have ever interacted with that crowd or know really anything about them. except for maybe what they see on TV, what they see in the movies.
So we spoke about like exposure, just getting the other side to see these things. Like, what's the most eye-opening thing that you've heard while interviewing somebody?
Oh, that's a tough one. Most eye-opening thing. Because with my interviews, I always like to interview like literally anybody. Like even the guys who look like they aren't gonna have much to offer or to say, sometimes surprise you. And okay, maybe not the one that kind of opened my eyes the most, but the one that I felt the most like connected to, or the interview that I thought was one of those cases where I thought maybe bro was gonna have nothing to say and he had a whole lot of important things to say. In the Patriotism Prom video at Trump's military parade, he was there as one of the protesters. And this dude's from California, bro, big dude. He's like 6'3". He's got white boy dreads all the way down to like his chest. He's got this green tie-dye shirt on. And I was interviewing a guy that was next to him with a Trump shirt. And after the interview, I was like, I said, let me ask this guy a question. Like, that'd be unfair to not, he's been standing right here the whole time. I asked him to do the interview, and he was talking all about how, he gave me information about like school shootings and how broken homes breed school shootings. Like, even if we put in these gun laws in place, sometimes these people are still gonna find a way to get a gun, whether it be from their crazy uncle, whether it be from the guy down the street who just wants $500 real quick. It's just kind of like, the problem is the economy is broken, therefore broken homes happen more commonly, therefore those types of events can happen more commonly. Like, we need to get into the head of a kid who does act like that to really understand. If we just write them off and say that they're all evil, they were just born evil, we're never gonna fix this fucking problem. We're the only country that has this issue. So if the kids are born evil, why aren't they born equally evil all over every established like first world country? That just don't make no sense. So he also brought up how in California, there was a guy running for city council, and he was more broke, he wasn't as established, he didn't have enough money for campaign finance, and they actually, his political opponent in California, I can't remember what city this was, because I'm not sure he mentioned it, bought his house, the poor opponent, because he was just renting it. Bought it from the landlord. That way, that candidate did not have an address in the district anymore, and therefore was ineligible to run for city council. So like things like that happen, anybody who thinks America doesn't have any corrupt things going on at a high level or at a local level is foolish, to put it lightly, foolish. And when I heard that from him, that happening at a local level, that blew my mind, because I'm like, damn, like, this isn't just federal governmental toxicity, essentially, that's happening, or corruption. This is happening at a local level in just some random city in California. Like, that opened my mind.
And these are like inset issues that like anybody on the street could just have walking with them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anybody. Like sometimes I'll be driving in the car and I just see a guy walking down the sidewalk and I'm like, I want to interview that dude right now. I wish I had my camera on mic. I want to see what he's got to say. He looked like he got a lot on his mind. Like it's something about random folk that I like. Something about random folk.
Yeah.
Cause it's in this new generation we like to say NPC, side quests, stuff like that. And that's something that I kind of resonate with the side quest part. Like, are we doing it?
Keep going.
Are we doing enough to talk to the everyday citizen? Like, I feel like maybe it was just like that in the movies, but back in the 60s, you walk down the street, hey man, good morning, Tom, and how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like this could be like some kind of movie, Hollywood propaganda, that every neighborhood was a lot nicer. Everybody was kind of saying what's up to each other, talking, hey Joe, how's the kids, stuff like that. And that don't really happen no more as far as I can tell. So I feel like doing these interviews, walking up to a random person and showing them that you care about what they have to say, that is something that is important in our society, period, whether or not you're a journalist or not. You should be approaching random people if they look a little down, ask them what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because community's gonna do it every time. Community's gonna do it every time.
What do you say to somebody who's like, I don't like the news. I don't watch news. I'm not gonna pay attention to it. What do you think that your platform does for those people?
For people that don't want to watch the news, I can't blame them. For people that don't want to watch the news, I can't blame them because in the last couple of years, it's kind of been put under a microscope that you can tell that a lot of these corporations all kind of have ownership of these news stations, even at a local level. It's like monopolies of news, and on top of that too, they have their own different interests, and they have their own interests and they have their own agenda. For example, Fox News got sued for, I believe, $717 million because they were reporting that Dominion voting machines were, in the 2020 election were completely faked and Joe Biden wasn't supposed to win. They got sued and Dominion voting won in court for that $700 million. I'm just saying, so Fox News, they all kind of, different news stations have lied about things in the past. Mass media doesn't really feel connected to the ground anymore in a sense. It feels so otherworldly. It just feels like people in a tower telling you what's happening. And I feel like when it's here on the ground, like this is where it's real. The news is up in their news station telling what's being fed to them on a teleprompter, not actually out there in the streets, having somebody reporting to them, and the reporter that's in the streets on location is probably getting information from somewhere else too. So what my channel offers is that ground level connection. It's not like mass media where they're up in the tower. Hold on, I'm gonna say it again, my bad. My YouTube channel is supposed to offer that experience to where it's not up in a tower, it's more on a ground level. You're hearing from people who are actually dealing with these issues every day. It's more focused on the people rather than on the ratings. You get what I'm saying? They want to go to North Carolina, they want to find the craziest dude who will say that he hates black people just because it'll just get all the views and all the ratings in the world and it'll just spark the race riots. You get what I'm saying? It's just gonna spark more, trouble. It's gonna spark more fighting. That's what the news is about, is ratings. How can we get everybody as aggravated as we fucking can today? I'm not sure if I can cuss. Am I allowed to cuss? Okay.
You're totally good.
We wanna get everybody as mad as possible so that they click, share, do all this stuff. Downtown Dialogue's mission is to be almost the opposite of that. Come at the same topic, come at the same issue, but come at it from the back door, essentially. Come at it in a way where you feel like it's more grounded. You feel like you're not being fed somebody else's words. You're hearing from the people on the street, and the people on the street aren't getting paid to say it. The people on the street aren't there to fill in their agenda. They're there to kind of share what's happening in their world, their perspective, and then gather up all those different perspectives, and now you got a real news story. Instead of, let's throw in like the 3 people that were crazy as hell, and then we'll kind of tell everybody else what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's just all, it's more from the street, it's more real, it's more raw, it's more unfiltered. And I feel like that's what's more important now. The press is all filtered.
Tell me about, so we know you do like the street interviews and you'll talk to anyone, right?
Right.
Tell me about like your video essays, some of your more long form stuff.
Okay.
And why you do those.
So the 2 longest form videos I have right now is about the Bowie racetrack and it's about go-go music. Really, I was like, I need a way to get a story, but also do a passion project at the same time. Bowie racetrack, like, for example, if you're a starting filmmaker and you want to go low budget and you want to just get out there and make something cool, find a story near you. There are cost-effective ways to make a really cool story or to cover something really cool without spending a shit ton of money. Like, Bowie racetrack is down the street from my house. It's been abandoned for almost like 20 years at this point. It's decrepit, it's falling apart, and everybody in the neighborhood is like, oh, it was supposed to become a sports facility. Oh, they were gonna build a basketball course. They were gonna make it a hockey place. What the hell is going on? I wanna figure that out, and I'm sure everyone in my city wants to figure that out. So why don't I make a video covering it, and it's gonna get endless love and support because the people in the neighborhood that genuinely care about a topic like this. You build that local audience, you make another story about the local audience, maybe make one that's a little outside, some other people will like it here, and then you can start to move on to those national topics. So the Bowie racetrack video was just because I've lived in Bowie, it was always next to me, always abandoned, and I wanted to figure out what was going on with it. And I took that question, that quest to find an answer, and then just turned that into a video. When it comes to the go-go music thing, it was kind of the same thing. I've been listening to go-go music my entire life, but do I know who actually started it? Do I know the stories of the people who are in the bands, and do I know what it took in a time in DC in the 90s when the crime rate was so high to survive and to be able to promote a band and stay on track? I don't. So I want to figure that out. Like, a lot of my videos come from me just trying to answer a question. I have a question about a certain thing. I think a lot of people also kind of want to answer to that, or maybe they'd be interested in just the journey of finding that answer. And that's where the go-go music and racetrack video came from, was exactly like I said. I have a question, let's answer it, here we go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where those projects came from.
Would you say like a lot of your journalistic endeavors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say,
good word, bro. Yeah, I like that.
Sorry.
Endeavors, baby.
Would you say that a lot of those come from that individualistic need to like find knowledge?
That was a mean question. Ooh. Possibly. Hold on, ask me that question one more time.
So like, you mentioned how like it was like if my essay starts with like a question, right?
Right.
Starts with a question I have. Like, would you say that a lot of your stuff comes from just these individual questions of like, I want to find out what this is and why this is happening?
It does. It comes from a sense of that, and then I also gotta like cross-referencing. You get what I'm saying? So I have a question I want to answer. Do people care if I answer this question? Because if you want to answer a question and it's not worth people watching, then you might as well just get on Google, type it up, figure it out yourself, and then go think of another idea. You know what I'm saying? So I cross-reference it. I'm like, okay, this is a question I want to answer. So it is individualistic in that sense. But are people going to be also curious about this? Is there a shared curiosity among other people? And if that is true, if it's undoubtable, even if it's a little true, like I said, in a local sense, maybe the whole nation doesn't care about this, but my city will, and I want to grow an audience. So then individualistic for me, yes, but not really, because then I also care about what other people think and what they're going to consume, you know what I'm saying? So it's a 50-50 mix of both. It really is, yeah.
The Washington Post, their motto is democracy dies in darkness. Do you resonate with that? And if you do, why?
Positively. Because the press. By the way, I wear this shirt ironically, for real. When I first started, I wore it unironically because I was like, oh yeah, I'm the press, yeah, I'm interviewing people, like I'm the news, yeah. But then it's kind of now ironic because I'm trying to not be mass media, but I still want to let people know like why I'm there. I feel like if I wear a shirt that says Downtown Dialogue, they're gonna think like I'm gonna make fun of them or this is some kind of joke political show. So the press comes off more professional, but in a way it's ironic now because I don't wanna be the news, I wanna be my own thing. So I wear press as just like a little act. But like I said, press. Democracy dies in darkness because the press shine light on everything. If you don't have the news as watchdogs constantly there, finding out what files have released, finding out from their insiders in the government who's talking to who about certain things, then it opens the door for corruption. In every authoritarian regime or country in history throughout the world, the press is the first thing to die. They always get a hold on the press. Like, for example, in Russia, the only state media they have is RT, Russian television. And that's where everyone gets their news from. There is no independent journalist. There is no investigative journalist. There is state media. The government controls what stories go out. They control what stories don't go out. And if you have a government like that, then they can absolutely do whatever they want. And then absolutely it'll die in darkness because no one was there to watch, make sure that nothing crazy was happening, be able to report independently of the government. You know what I'm saying? The government's gonna say whatever the government wants, duh. That's why the press exists, to share what the public should need to know. And absolutely, without the press, democracy will die, for sure.
I asked you that question not because I think that there's going to be a Washington Post commercial or anything.
No, of course not, but that's a true statement. Yeah, absolutely it is. And honestly, the press are the defenders, man, they are. Like, for example, I've been seeing a lot of capitulation. I've been seeing a lot of press kind of bending the knee to Donald Trump. For example, 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes did an interview with Kamala Harris right before the election, and they asked her how she would deal with this issue with Israel. I'm not exactly sure what the question was. She answered it one way. They asked her again to answer the question because the first answer wasn't that good. She answers it, and they choose to use the first answer she put and put it on, they choose to use the second answer she put, the better one, and put it on the morning news as a little clip. That way it could advertise for the night that it was coming on at like 7:30 at night. When the interview comes on, they don't show that same clip, they show a different one, the other answer that she had. Donald Trump sued 60 Minutes, I was gonna say $60 million, but it's just the same number. I'm not sure how much it was for. Regardless, 60 Minutes paid Donald Trump that money because you gotta think, the the presidential branch, the executive branch owns the FCC. They own all the journalism and media licenses, so they can pull from anyone as soon as they like to. They just give everyone and grant them those licenses because it's a free country. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to get your press revoked. Donald Trump has been hanging that over their heads. The FCC will no longer let 60 Minutes report unless they kind of pay money in this lawsuit. And they do that instead of fighting it in court where they could easily win because they want to make sure that they're protected these next 4 years and it can go on to report without any threat and lawsuit from Donald Trump. That's where the press is not being the defenders in cases like those. The press needs to step up. They need to fight these lawsuits because if they don't, then it sets precedent. And now when the next media goes up to fight them in court, they're going to say, well, we argued the same thing with 60 Minutes and they paid the couple $1 million, so y'all are going to be basically guilty to the judge. You know what I'm saying? So are they the defenders? Absolutely. Do they need to defend more? Positively. That's what burns a fire in me more too, because I'm like, we need more independent journalists. If mass media dies or if nobody wants to report and find out what the hell is going on in the important places, then that's going to spell bad things for us. Yeah.
Do you think like what you do is important given that like the current administration and the challenges?
Yeah, I absolutely think it's important. Do I wish more people would do it? I would like to say that, but the thing is not everybody kind of like wants to go out and talk to random people on the street. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather watch that instead of stepping into those environments themselves. They'd rather kind of watch it on their TV. And that's how I was too. You gotta understand that I was watching like Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan, and that's like one of my biggest inspirations. Channel 5 makes great films of like on the street documentaries, unclipped, raw, unfiltered. Just anybody can say whatever they want, put a mic to anybody. And that inspired me. And I wasn't doing journalism before I started watching that channel. So it can be within you, but maybe you need that little preset of like wanting to talk to random people like I was explaining. So do I wish other people did it? No, I'm not gonna go as far to say that, but important, yeah. I think doing what I do is important because, let me re-say that. I think doing what I do is important, like the press and reporting the news, because like I said, the press has been under attack. They've had numerous attacks from this administration. Associated Press was banned from the White House. You know, the people who are asking about Epstein and stuff are kind of not allowed into these briefing rooms. They're asking him questions on Air Force One, asking him, did he win his golf tournament? What kind of news is that? That's not news. That's asking him what he wants so you guys don't get banned from asking questions on Air Force One. That's why I think it's important. We need more people like me who think that that shit is wrong and want to be the opposite of that to represent a bigger minority of news that is supposed to be raw, unfiltered, uncut, asking the tough questions. If you're not asking the tough questions, you're not even really a journalist, you know? Yeah, you need the answers.
Yeah. So tell me about like the city as like a recurring backdrop for like stuff. Like why do you choose it?
Okay, number one, I guess as a investigative journalist, political journalist, right? I like talking about politics. DC's prime location, you know what I'm saying? Capital of the United States. This is where the Congress is. This is where the Senate is. This is where the FBI headquarters is. Like FBI headquarters is in Greenbelt. It's 20 minutes away from us. DMV is prime location if you want to make political content, because the day that a protest breaks out in DC, I can get there in 35 minutes and start interviewing people, asking them what they think about all this. So DC is a place I keep coming back to because, one, it's got a lot of culture. Two, it's changing a lot. There's a lot of change to report on that's happening in the city. Three, it's political. It's diverse, so you get a lot of diverse opinions, and it's also political in the sense that the government is literally set right here. The whole drama play of the United States of American government happens right here. It's here to watch, you know what I'm saying? So I think DC is a good place to come back to because of those three reasons right there. Yeah, definitely. And plus downtown dialogue, you know what I'm saying? Like every time I drive into DC, there's a road sign that says downtown, and I'm waiting to get the shot, bro. I keep forgetting to get the shot of downtown so that I can put it at the beginning of the video, like I'm downtown dialogue.
It's hilarious because we were driving in here and it like played like a little movie into my head, like just like, oh shit, we doing his interview. Look where we are. It's like it's perfect.
Yeah, right. Yeah, DC. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I mean, it's also just the perfect place to shoot, man. Like I feel like you got You got neighborhoods, if you want to film something about gentrification, you got a perfect neighborhood to film all the white people walking past with their little dogs. If you want to film something about go-go music and you need to go to Southeast where they're beating on buckets because they can't afford congos, you can go to that neighborhood that's only 10 minutes down the road and find that too. It's diverse, not only people, but diverse culture, diverse answers, diverse experiences. The people over here is worried about if the stock market's gonna crash because of tariffs. The people over here is worried about how they gonna feed their children because their mama just got hit by a stray bullet. You get what I'm saying? And DC's crime's not that bad anymore, guys. Let me be clear. But I'm just saying, these are the different perspectives that's shared within just a couple miles. So that's why DC's prime, if you wanna feel real people's experiences, is here. Because you can get different experiences within 10 minutes. Yeah.
What have been some like challenging parts for you on this journey of just like creating this stuff?
What you said, what's been like some tragic parts?
Like challenging.
Oh, challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges is getting interviews. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're starting off small, a lot of these people won't take you seriously because you got a small channel. You don't really have that many followers. You know, a lot of people that want to do interviews are going to do them because there's an incentive for them as well. They're going to get coverage by it. You know, like I was hitting up for the racetrack video, the Susan Proctor, who's the director of history at Bowie, and I didn't get an email back from her. Emailed her twice, called her, didn't get no response. So I had to go down to the little museum stables place and just find a worker and just interview her instead. And I had a great interview with her. So it's kind of like the biggest challenge is the interviews, but also don't be so locked in on one person that you want. That's the thing I noticed is I had this idea for a video. I got 3 interviews lined up that's gonna fill it in. Everybody's gonna have a great perspective and they'll fill up the whole story. But then one of them cancels. And I'm like, okay, well now I'm missing this whole perspective. And now I get upset, I get unmotivated. The key is to not get so hung up on these interviews and to just keep adapting. So yeah, definitely, I'm trying to get back to a place with that.
Honestly, that was a great point, and I want to say like, what are some more tips you would give to somebody who like wants to do what you do and like is inspired by what you do?
If you want to start journalism, man, one of the things that held me back when I had the idea to start Downtown Dialogue in November of 2024, and I didn't actually start until April of 2025. The reason why? Because I couldn't find a cameraman. And I still don't have a cameraman, but I'm making videos, you know what I'm saying? But I remember one night I was with my best friend Jordan, I'm trying to tell him how I want to get started, but I can't find no videographer who's dedicated and wants to, you know, just put it all down for me. And he was like, well, that's because you just started. Maybe you're not gonna find that. Why don't you just show me how to use the camera and I'll be your cameraman. Go show your cousin Tyler. Just go get a friend, show him how to use the camera and just go do it. And even though it's gonna be imperfect, if it's a good story, it's gonna get across. You know what I'm saying? Some of the best documentaries I've ever seen were filmed on VHS cameras. You don't need studio quality to make a good documentary, nor do you need a cameraman. All you need is a microphone, a camera, possibly a tripod, and some kind of way to edit it. And that was my biggest hurdle, was I was so stuck up on making it all perfect. I just needed to start perfect. You don't need to. I'm on my 4th video in, I'm proud of the content that I've made so far, and I still don't have a cameraman, and I edit all of it myself. Like, you can do it. You can do it. To the person watching who is barely probably considering to be a journalist, if you just even want to start anything, don't get so hung up on trying to make it perfect. Just get started. Once you get into the flow of things, you start showing the kind of things you can create, people are just gonna wanna come on board, period. Like, I have a videographer guy I followed on Instagram that I met at the club one night, got his Instagram, and after my 3rd video, he emailed me and said, yo, I loved your video. Like, if you need any kind of like footage or you want a guy to come get some cool clips for your like next documentary, hit me, like I'd love to. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about. That message wouldn't have been created had I not just gotten out there and just gotten started. So yeah, don't get so hung up on trying to make that shit perfect. It don't gotta be. Don't gotta be, just go. Just go. Just go. Yeah. You gotta get down.
40 I amped. Hestin. Downtown Dialogue.
Trocon.